What's up, folks? Welcome to another creating a ShadowDark dungeon. What's going on? Better with Bacon. What's up, Phil, Robert, and Sam? What's up, folks? I'm gonna tear into a little bit of what we did last time, and then get started right away with the Forge. So yeah, to address the title, however, your dungeon needs stakes. We talked a little bit previously about the 7 dungeon checklist, the 7 points from Knock Issue 1. Kind of like rewrote them here with my own words. And something to be killed, something that will kill you, someone to talk to, and something they won't find. Might go into those a little bit today as we're tinkering, building. What did I say? Billing? Hey, with some ochre jelly for dessert. Are we talking about actual steaks? So, I found my first snag ever with the monster overhaul. I was looking for like Durgar or dwarves or something to be, analogous to like your sort of crafter people, and I couldn't find anything. People in general were the closest thing, like adventurers, although I guess I could use, if I wanted to compare dwarves to cave people or even troglodytes, that's like maybe the next closest thing I could find. But right now I'm looking at adventurers. I mean, there's the sort of like rivalry kind of way to look at them, but I might end up just using Knave because I wasn't too satisfied with, what I found for, just people, because it's like cultists, knights, mercenaries. I guess there could be an argument for mercenaries in this case, merchants, and then pilgrims, peasants, and stuff. So adventurers were the closest thing I could find, because this next room is going to have some kind of NPCs in it. Adventurers. I don't know. I'm gonna put this to the side for now because I feel like I'm gonna distract myself with it. But so last time, just to fill anyone in who wasn't here, we started here in the center. This is kind of where the players are gonna get dropped into the dungeon. And I went east because there's going to be an open door here, essentially. So that's the most likely place they're going to go first. Doesn't mean it will for sure be, but they cross a rope bridge, and then we kind of filled out the Chapel of Chimes here. And then I went through, basically, these are my live notes. And I went through and I cleaned them up a bit for, what I'm actually going to use at the table. So just to show you guys this. I haven't named the dungeon yet. We'll figure that out at the end. But this was the Compass Rose Room, and then the chapel that we sort of all worked out on the last session. And I started to fill around with color coordinating things. Good things for the players were green. Purple was magic, and bad stuff was orange, because that's just the colors I had on me. I don't know if I'll stick with that. But, alright, this thing needs to go away. Blades in the Dark. The rival party was one of the scariest things you could encounter in a dungeon. Exactly. So, we're moving from the chapel north with the pulley here. I don't even think I need to write anything about that, because I think that's something that I'm going to leave up to the players to solve. I'm not going to create problems, not solutions. So we'll let them figure out how they get the sort of pulley system to lift them into this northeastmost room here, which is going to be the Forge. So we're going to fill out the Forge today, and I'm going to start by moving my mouse out of the way here. Let's push that to the side. Okay, and I'm going to open up NPCs in Knave 2 here. So, the Forge. Actually, what I should start with, so there's going to be a door to the west, Holy's to the south, and really that's it. I decided first things first, should always do my bullet point of like just cardinal directions. What do you see? And then there's going to be like a lava pit in the middle of the room, basically. So, iron door, west, pulley system, south. What do you actually call that thing in a forge where all the like hot coals and lava sit? I don't know the name of it, but I like folks who the PC might not necessarily like, but also don't want to kill, much like Dark Souls or Elden Ring NPCs. Yeah, and since this is ShadowDark, I'm not going to make them like these folks. I'm already thinking are like disgruntled Duragar / dwarf slaves, basically, that are trapped here. They don't have the key to this door. The police system hasn't worked, but they're still forging blades for this big bad that I haven't decided on yet. So they're going to be generally the furnace. Okay, yeah. Furnace center. And then, you know, forges to the north and east. I'm just going to say forges around room. So that's like some of what they see when they come in. Although, I did bookmark some dungeon dressings in one of my knocks, because I thought that might be fun to explore. But I don't want to get too derailed immediately, so let's see. Delving. Candles, lanterns, torches, darkness, searching. Delve shifts, rooms, room themes, room details. I'm just going to roll a D100 and see what we get. 12. Hey, braziers. Look at that. Where did I put my pen? I immediately lost it. Don't be like me. Why am I like this? There it is. It was saving my other page. This is also going to be the most ADHD stream you've probably ever witnessed. All my brain gave me is Crucible. I know that's wrong. But that's probably part of a forge, I would assume. Alright, what did I get? That was a 12. So what else do we have in room details? We have braziers, plural, active room themes, corpses, combat, corruption, creation, criminal activity, bones. I like bones. Although we have bones in the main room they start in, so maybe that's not interesting enough. I'm going to re-roll. 66. Rituals. Or a portcullis. Ooh. I actually like the iron door being a portcullis instead. So I'm going to, since this is just my scratch sheet and I'm going to write it later, I'm just going to write, I do not know how to spell portcullis, so I've got to write this down. Portcullis. So we're going to do portcullis to the west. And then what was the other 66? Was rituals. Maybe the dwarves they find. So, alright. I'm going to write dwarves. Actually, I kind of like Duragar. I don't know that there are Duragar in ShadowDark, but there will be in this world, so Duragar. I don't know what it says about me that I know how to spell Duragar, but not portcullis. So Duragar slaves performing ritual. It's a cup you melt metal in. The crucible? Nice. Nice, nice. Okay. Anything else? We got, what, 12 and 66? A bank? Or this is kind of like what it is, what the whole dungeon is. A museum. Trap effects. Burning makes sense to me. Shaking. So maybe there's like a loose... Actually, maybe the crucible is hanging above the room. If that's the big thing with the lava in it. I'm going to write that for now because I'll remember what it is. Loose crucible full of lava. That could be like an unintentional trap. That the, you know, like somehow the players might accidentally spring it. Okay. I think that's good enough for like features of the room. Alright, and then I've been kind of doing it as features. I'm going to do the 3 F's. Features, foes. There was another one. Break out my notes from last time. Oh, actually, I'm thinking of the island, aren't I? Folk. Features. Oh, I did special and loot. I don't dislike that as a general rule of thumb, although I'm sticking to like trying to do like 3 bullet points per room so it doesn't get too messy. Fire and cup. Alright, so since these are going to be kind of NPCs or potentially, you know, foes to the players, neutral, I'm going to say we jump back to our NPC section. We look at personalities. 85. Slacker. Then we have Squint, Spy, and Goals. Restore, Ruler. So maybe they're actually loyal to the big bad of this particular dungeon. So I'm going to say the Durgar I don't really like Slacker. Skeptical, slovenly. Let's re-roll that. 15. Condescending. Okay. The Durgar are, well, here's the thing. That could be their general disposition. Players will still get a roll because this is ShadowDark. They'll still get, like, basically what happens when they first interact with these Durgar. But I'm going to say they are, in general, very condescending. They're caught up in a ritual. I'm going to say forging a magic blade. To appease. And I don't know what our BBEG is yet, but I'm just going to write it here. BBEG. Alright, to appease the BBEG. So we got some things going on as soon as they arrive. The dwarves are in action, performing this ritual, trying to imbue magic into this sword they're making. So that already like sets the scene for me. Room's full of smoke or incense and like, hard to see. You can see the flicker of flames and hear the clanking as these dwarves, or Duragar rather, are hard at work forging some dark evil weapons. Which also gives me an idea for what some of the loot's going to be. And I think this room, I'm not going to focus on this room having one of those plinths that I used in the chapel. I think if we overdo the theme, it'll get obnoxious. And I'm thinking that this room here is going to have one of those plinths because there's a big door here. And you're probably going to need, this is just off the top of my head, all 4 items to open this door to get to like sort of end loot kind of a situation. So don't have to do it, but could be an option. Hey, what's up, Swords and Stones? My natural inclination is to be overly pedantic, but I have an illustrated copy of 16th century. Oh, by the way, I'm going to say for like formatting, if you guys have something you want me to see specifically, because I know you guys are just chatting away right now, like an all caps either idea or question. I should just put that in the description next time, but that will like clue me in that I need to pay attention. Otherwise, I love the idea of the tippable crucible, like a modern steelworks, just waiting to be tipped by PCs. Yes. Alright, I'm going to roll mannerisms too, just to see if we get anything different and interesting. 77. Rhythmic. Ooh. I'm just going to write it down. Because I'll clean this part up later when I put it into my actual book. I'm going to say... Wait, did I spell rhythmic wrong? R-H-Y-T-H. That's a lot of consonants. M-I-C. Rhythmic hammering. As if, like, the ritual is actually in tune with their craft. That seems like a fun detail to me. Okay, so we've got some Duragar who are just typically condescending. They're caught up in a ritual, forging magic blades to appease the BBEG, with their rhythmic hammering, creating whatever this strange magic item is. Now, I'm going to move on to loot. I think we have some obvious loot here. Hammers, pitons, is that the word? Pitons? Hammers, anvils, general, I'm just going to write blacksmithing supplies so that I don't have to take up a lot of words on the page. And that way I can just, if a player says, okay, blacksmithing supplies, like, is there a, what do you call the little thing you squeeze, bellows? And I'll be like, yep, sure is. Okay. And then I do want to create the magic item that they are creating. And I think I am going to break out another book for this. So, I have my knock issues right here. And I think I even bookmarked it. Let's see. Don't list out gear. This is a fun article that you can read on your own time, but this is about creating gear based on like keywords. It's a spark table. And it's going to use D20s, it looks like. So we have 7 and 12. Grappling or holographic. Mask or mirror. Holographic mask or mirror. That could be cool. What are chems? That's for like, probably like a cyberpunk or something. Let's just see. 19 and 11. Strength or truth. Parasites or paste. Interesting. Space helmet, torch. These are some example ones. Healing crystals. Okay. I don't know that I really felt a strong link to grappling or holographic. I'm going to try another roll and see what we get. 17. Smart or solar powered? Am I in the, like... this is Prismatic Wasteland sci-fi fantasy? Okay, maybe this is not the list I was thinking it is. Maybe I put it in the other book, because I have a couple of these bookmarked. Let's see. Useless magic loot. 300. Oh, boy. This is a D3 and a D100. So I'll use D6 as my D3. So 204. So what would that be? Let's see. This is 80s. 1 and 2 is still this list. I see. But it's number 4. Orchestra in a box. A chest with a miniature music golem knows 1d20 tunes. These are kind of funny too. These are more like... This is actually... So the last room that we did, the chapel, this seems more like the stuff I think I wanted to put trinkets and things on the altar. And that's what this is. And I may even just roll this in the moment instead of coming up with it. But I wanted to generate... I'm going to go back to Knave, and we'll just generate a magic item this way. And I may even do... They have, like, weapons on one of the pages. So let's see. 46. So it's either a Kopesh, Qatar, or Kukri. Does anyone have a strong inclination? Idea. Bellows Magic Coal. That's cool. Singing time into the hammers, too. They could be singing in time to hammering, yeah. A mirror that casts illusions. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking because they're forging that it's something like a blade or a weapon. But I don't want to, like, also lean too heavily in, like, everything in the dungeon being a bladed weapon, because then there's only one type of character, or maybe two, that really benefit from that. But I did roll, let's see, Qatar, Kopesh, or Kukri. I think a Kopesh could be cool. So, alright. Kopesh, K-H-O-P-E-S-H. And then the item traits. 80 flat. Reviled, repaired, rotting. Alright, let's see if we can look at magic and bring some light to why it's reviled. Go back to... Alright, let's see. What's 80s magic school? Stasis, staves, or stealth. Okay, keep that in mind. And then qualities. 46. Insidious. Inscrutable, iridescent. So I like an iridescent Kopesh of reviled stealth. Repaired seems reasonable. Yeah, that's true. It could be like a repaired ancient blade or something of this BBEG. Maybe it self repairs now that it's been reforged. Alright, so let's see. Kopesh. I liked iridescent. That's just a fun characteristic. Although I feel like I used iridescent recently on a stream for something, but now I don't remember. Kopesh, iridescent. I'm gonna re-roll the effect. 56. Liquefying. That's interesting. And what was the 46? Illumination, illusion. Illusion's popped up twice. So maybe the iridescent blade has some illusion property. I feel like the dice are moving me towards an illusion. Kopesh, iridescent, illusory, and there was another trait I skipped. It's kind of a funny one now that was it 60 or 80 flat? Well, I'll tell you what, that gives me enough to go off of. I can decide what the mechanics of this are later on. Hey, what's up, Pete? And I'll know that this is what they're reforging. And I do like you said repairing. I'm going to write self-repairing. So that I remember that this blade never really breaks. Or if it does, it's very momentary. Because the magic that is imbued in it. So, we've got some loot. I think also I'm just going to add, because I'm starting them out with not much, that there are some sconces around the room that have torches. I'm going to say D6 sconces. And perhaps these Durgar are cooking some questionable meat. So I'm going to write that as well. And I'm going to put in parentheses that it's rust monster meat. Because I know that between all the books I have, I think either Monster Overhaul or Land of Eam Bestiary has like some interesting things to say about what rust monster meat could be used for or probably tastes like. So I think that would be fun. And it's like, they're blacksmith Durgar, so they've probably fought off a rogue rust monster or two, lurking in the depths of the chasm. Okay, let's go back and look at our map to get centered here. So we have Portcullis on the west. We have these Durgar who are trying to appease their BBEG by forging this magic blade. Hey, Monomix. No hammers, thanks. Too late. We've already decided this is a room full of blacksmiths hammering away. Yeah, and then we have the hanging crucible of lava that could be loose and accidentally fall on the players. Which, this is the kind of interesting thing about like leaving it up to chance, is like maybe these Durgar weren't going to be antagonistic towards the players, but this lava drops on them and somebody dies, and then things get heated, and it's like, hey, that's how the dice went, It's almost like I try to look at old school mindset as more like what are the literary terms? It's the one that George R.R. Martin is. Pantser? Like writing by the seat of your pants rather than a plotter who plots everything out ahead of time. Even though technically we're filling up the dungeon, leaving a lot of things up to chance, and just seeing what the players interact with and how things roll. Glass knife. That's cool. I like glass knife. Ooh, can't use metal utensils on rust monster meat? That's awesome. I'm definitely writing that they all have like glass cutlery. That's super cool. I love it. I didn't spell that right, but that's okay. Alright, so we've got 3 bullet points here. I think this gives us enough for the forge. And we're halfway through, so we can maybe knock out one more room while we're here. Okay. We've got our Durgar. We've got what's around the room. We've got what they're doing. I'm skipping the plinth for this room. Don't want to overdo it. And yep, forge. So this here, this chamber of the large door, the northmost chamber, I haven't decided what this is yet, other than there are some pillars throughout it. But if we go back to Delve in Knave here, I'm gonna roll on room theme and room details. One of the things I love about sticking to Knave is that I always know it's a D100. Alright, 87. Rooms. Stables. Smoking room, storeroom. All those feel a little bit weird. Structure, page 11. Maybe I'll see what that is in a second. Room themes. The moon. Ooh, that's cool. The moon. Okay. Let's see what page 11 says. Structures. I'll keep 87 for now and just see. A tomb. Tomb of the Moon. 42. Let's just see what else we get. Hinge. I'm not actually sure what that is. It's under Hamlet and above Hermitage. Hideout. Rust Monster Steaks. Okay. So I like Tomb. Moon came up. No braces or fillings. That's awful. Okay. Tomb. So yeah, maybe this ends up being where the BBEG is being reborn, is being held. We don't know yet. But I like this being a tomb, and this is the gate, and there's a moon theme, so maybe moonlight is streaming in overhead. Hinge, like a stone hinge? Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. We actually do have a stone hinge above the dungeon. That's where the players are thrown into the hole. So there could be a theme there. Maybe there's like some faces on the pillars or something. But let's call this room the Tomb Door. Tomb of the Moon? Did get moon as a theme. Moonlit tomb. I like descriptive names that kind of like remind me the feel of it too. Alright, so we got Moonlit Tomb, which is the northmost room. Rhymes. Alright, we have Portcullis to the east. We have the Frozen Stair to the south. I should have gone cardinal and done the big door first, but oh well. We've got Unknown to the west, and then the Guardians and the double door. So, Frozen Door West. That's what I'm going to write for now. Frozen. I like iron for some reason, because there's Durgar and stuff. Frozen Iron Door West. Guardians. I'm going to write stone. And what do you call it when the moons, like, I guess the moon phases are like maybe an array? Guardians, stone, and moon. I'm just going to write moon phase door. Moon phases. door north. Alright. Idea. Moonlight is needed to recharge some sort of ward on the tombs, either to protect the bones or to keep them from rising. Yeah, I was already kind of feeling like if moonlight could be streaming into this room, it might be fun to play off of it. I'm remembering a dungeon I did in the first campaign I ever wrote, where this was so Zelda-y, and I didn't know what I was doing, but like, there were like mirrors all around the room, and everyone had to like turn the mirrors to bounce the moonlight, and it was the dumbest, way too complicated puzzle I've ever done. And no one could figure it out, and I basically had to spoon feed it to them, and it was awful. Don't write puzzles that way. But I like the idea of, like, you know, capturing the moon theme somehow. Okay, so we've got what's in the room. Oh, I didn't write pillars. I'm gonna write pillars. I should probably figure out what this BBEG is pretty soon. Because I feel like it's going to affect, like, what's sort of the motif of some of the other things. Pillars featuring... I'm just going to say phases of the moon for now as well. Phases of moon. Alright, so we've got the basic stuff that's in here, and then... I may draw this in later, but I'll have like little, I think with it being a tomb now, there are little alcoves around the sides where there are actual literal sarcophagi. Like something like that. Idea, if you take a corpse to the moonlight, you can use Speak with Dead. Ooh, that's fun. I do like that. Maybe it all like... the moonlight, depending on like the time or whatever, moves around to the different pillars, and they start. Well, that's getting into like. I'm trying to avoid creating answers, you know. And also, then I have to decide like. Which is fine, we can do this. I have to decide who are these guys, and now each of them has like some kind of information that matters to the dungeon. And maybe it's just that like they know what this place was before it went into disrepair, which is totally fine. I could have them answer like some sort of, you know, general information to give the players on the rest of the dungeon, which could be a fun way to reward them for interacting and like discovering that puzzle. So that's a good possibility. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm gonna say phase doors, pillars of the moon, or pillars featuring phases of the moon, and then alcoves with sarcophagi. I don't know how to spell sarcophagi. Where's my phone? This is riveting stream stuff. Sarcophagi. Nope. Sarcophagus. I don't think I'm saying it right. Must not be the plural. Sarcophagus. Welcome to Jorban Spells. Alright. Cool. So let's get into the next, well, and I'm just going to say moonlight from ceiling. High above. Okay, now let's say I do like these ideas of the puzzles. Hey, what's up, Dwarf Dan? Playing my first ShadowDark game on Tuesday. Awesome, dude. Let me know how it goes. We're making a ShadowDark dungeon from scratch right now. I drew up this little map, doodled it, and we're gonna fill it with stuff using Knave and Knock and ShadowDark and some other random books. So, welcome. All right, so let's see. We have a moonlit tomb, moonlight streaming in. I'm gonna say I'll make this as puzzle light as possible. I'm gonna say there's a big array in the center of the room, right here, and there'll be like a moon symbol on it, right? And it turns, and just whatever time of the day they're currently at, maybe it re-aims the moonlight coming in, and that like basically has to hit the pillar of the current time that they're at, and that'll like alight it, and some runes will appear or something, and that's how. Well, see, now I'm getting too deep in the paint, because the idea was, I liked your idea, Merlotron, about using the Speak with Dead as a way to get them information about the rest of the dungeon. That's a cool idea. So maybe it's just that the moonlight is always on this thing at the center. I like that better. And if they bring a corpse there, they can do like one Speak with Dead question, and then it fades, basically. So I'm gonna write Moon Mosaic. I like the strong moon theme here. I'm just gonna write the word sprinkled with moonlight, because that's evocative, right? And then I'll write bringing a corpse, placing a corpse on it, Speak with Dead. I like that. That's easier. It's not a puzzle within a puzzle like I was kind of about to do. Which you definitely want to avoid. Sorry, gave away your secret identity there. Okay, so we've got like something fun to tinker with, interact with, and I'm gonna say these corpses are all descendants of the BBEG. I almost feel like I need to pick something. So let's do that real fast, because I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go to monsters. And you know what? For this one, I almost don't want to roll randomly. I kind of want to be inspired. Ancestors. Or whatever. Descendants. What did I say? Oh, you are saying, maybe you're saying the other way around. It should be the ancestors of the BBEG. I see. That's a good point. Okay. This is one thing that's really fun about the Monster Overhaul, is I could still randomly roll and be inspired and see, like, does that take me anywhere? So, like, let's see, roll 1d20 on the chapter. Strange water. Okay. And then there's also, if you go to, there's a table of contents. These are also basically d10 tables. So what was it? Strange water. 2. Ancient arthropod. 285. Yeah, if it's really old. I'm trying to avoid just saying it's a lich, because that is always my go-to. Every time I do, like, what did we say? 285. Every time I do, like, some kind of dungeon like this, like, especially if it feels like a tomb or a crypt, it always ends up being some kind of a lich. This would be, okay, ancient arthropod. It's basically just a big crab. That is fascinating. That would be a really weird BBEG at the end. I think that would be anticlimactic. Let's go with... these are probably level 1. Maybe they get to level 2 ShadowDark characters. I'm going to see what happens if I roll on a wizard did it. Because that's a fun category. 4. An eye tyrant. Ooh. That's like a beholder. What was it? 180. Oh wait, a wizard did it, yeah. 183. I wonder if Monster Overhaul has like different tiers of eye tyrants, because I don't want to go crazy. Although this could be the thing in the dungeon on the checklist, something to kill you, labeled deadly, horrible, avoidable monster. So it's like they don't have to fight it. It's in there. If they awaken this thing, it's kind of their own fault, and you give all the signs on the way there to be like, hey, guys, we probably don't want to keep pushing down here. This is maybe a comeback when we're higher level kind of situation. That's kind of interesting. This is a really funny eye tyrant picture. Let's see. The eye tyrant's large central eye. Yeah, we know that. Wants to rule, acquire, and destroy. Sadistic, provocative. It kind of fits. Ancient rust monster eats the Kopesh and it reforms. That's kind of fun too. Like, it could be like a super smart, sentient, like a proto rust monster. Knock number 1 should have an article by Chris McDowell about flavoring liches. It does, and I've used it before. I just, so for my own sake, I tend to like lich is my fallback, right? Like it's the if I'm gonna go down like a familiar course, I always end up making a lich. So I'm just avoiding that as the trope. Could be some demon or Efreet. Efreet is cool. I love the ancient rust monster idea, or I feel like eye tyrant kind of makes sense with like Duragar. You get like these creatures to do your bidding, but then I'd have to have like some weirder things going on in the dungeon. I feel like some little like floating tunnels in the roof, which could be that the holes that are letting the moonlight in and stuff are actually beholder tunnels that it just floats up in through, and that's why there's all these strange holes. Maybe it's not like a huge one, so it's like, I don't know. I'm kind of liking this. I'm talking myself into eye tyrant because I do want something, as we stated, to be killed by, and this feels like a creature that could be dimensionally trapped or have some other reason that it's just not accessible at the moment. And I like moonlight being like its power. It's like fueled by moonlight or something. Yeah, it is kind of true. Rust monster version of an aboleth. Releases a bunch of intellect devour monsters, and the party forgets why they're there to begin with. Oh man, that'd be mean. Let's do something real quick. I'm gonna look at this because this says eye tyrant variants, so maybe I could combine these two ideas. It's like an eye tyrant rust monster, which I think is kind of a fun like twist, because I don't think anyone would expect that. Even if you're kind of a seasoned player, I like having something that kind of mashes things together and throws people off, and they're like, whoa, this is cool, I've never heard of that. That's kind of wild. So let's see. I'm gonna roll. You guys can't see this, can you? Eye tyrant variants, which I think we already know. Eye of the Deep, aquatic only, 6 eye rays, 2 claw attacks. This is more like if I'm doing a specific one. Eye tyrant names. Alright, I gotta roll on this just to see what I get. Sorry, I'm bumping my mic. God above all gods. It's so on the nose. Hold on. 8. Vom Helbeev Ixwap. Flickering camouflage rather. Okay, classic eye rays, variant eye rays. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a pin in this page. And I want to look at, someone compared it to being like an aboleth. I think that was Sam. Yeah, and there is like an aboleth in this book that's really cool. What time is it? 1:51. This is fun though. I'm having a blast with this. Okay, what is that thing called? Anguleth 177. I think we can combine these ideas, make something pretty cool. Think outside the box. Anguleth. Hey, look, that even kind of looks like our place. Not really, but okay. Morality. Utterly detached. Treats people as tools. Sounds like our Durgar friends. Intelligence. Genius. Full of horrifying secrets, blasphemous lore, and convoluted schemes. This is even like... So, we were talking about the tombs. The tombs could be more like these hybrids of different species, where they're all mixed with like this aboleth... rust monster kind of a thing. So they're like, you know, some of them have like chitinous scales on them or like appendages. Yeah, there could be some interesting things inside those tombs, and that could give the players also a hint of what is to come. Okay, a slug-like fish, 3 pitiless red eyes, 4 grasping tentacles, and far too many teeth. I think this is fun. It's, you know, its abilities are enslave, illusion, which makes sense of the other item too. I'm seeing a theme. Cloud of mucus. I like this. I think we combine the two. So I'm gonna put, actually I'm gonna use this here as the bookmark, and I'm gonna write just on the page here, way up at the top. I think we have our BBEG. Here's the question: is it too much? Am I just clinging on to the eye tyrant a little bit too much to have it be a part of it? I guess, yeah, because aboleth is already like, it crosses a lot of the same motifs, which is like an intelligent, weird creature from beyond. So let's say aboleth plus rust monster is the BBEG. Okay. Monster Overhaul is the best. Yes. Okay. Evil Superman powered by moonlight. Okay, and then I'm gonna go here because there's this really fun thing in Knave where one time I rolled up, like, I don't know if you guys watched this video. I think it was like on the Patreon only for a while, but I rolled just randomly on this and I got like a rust monster that it was something really weird. Like it wasn't a rust monster. It like destroyed like wood or something strange. It was just really bizarre but fun, and I like that idea of like maybe switching up the expectation by using some of these tables. So let's see. 44 Hawk, Heart, Hedgehog, Hornet. I'm just gonna write this down. We'll see if we come back to it. Hornet, because it doesn't always have to look the same either. It could take on the form of a different beast. Organs. I don't know if this will come in or not. 78 spikes. Just by making it kind of unrecognizable. I got a 10 flat. Burning. This is terrifying already. And powers. I think I already kind of know what I'm going to do with this. But 57... Immovability. Ice wall. Insect control. We have a lot of insect control already happening on this island. So it might be weird to like, or it might be a theme to tie it together. I don't know. Hypnosis, ice aura, ice bolt. I'm just gonna write ice. Well, burning and ice. That's kind of. Fire and ice. Let's. I'm gonna keep moving. Weakness. 12. I was gonna laugh if it was children. It is children. That's the first thing my eye saw. Church bells. Ooh, church bells. We already have a church. But is it weird to have the monster like hanging out near the thing of its weakness? I don't know. I'm just gonna write church bells as a weakness for now. We'll circle back. These don't have to be absolute. Children is hilarious. The one thing I cannot abide. Children. Tactics. 81. Swallow whole. And there was something about illusions, or was I reading that in the? I'm getting way ahead of myself. Welcome to my ADHD stream where I juggle 6 books and forget what I'm doing. Okay, so I think we have enough to keep doing the area we're in and finish out this room. But there's this strange hornet-shaped rust monster covered in spikes that is either burning or ice. I'll write both because we rolled both. That's weak to church bells and tries to swallow you whole. That's a pretty crazy BBEG. I did want to roll the element. That was the last thing I was going to do. So if we go to spells, the quality or element or effect of its like rust monster breath, 33. Because I'll check a couple tables to see which one makes the most sense. Draining, 33 is like ghost fungus or glass. That might be fun. Maybe that's why they all have glass knives. 33 in the magic school is destruction. No, that's 23. Finding. Yeah, I can't remember exactly domains. Oh, wait. Let's see. 33 in domains is... Oh, I saw blood and birds and stuff, and I was like, maybe it's a... It just evaporates all the blood in your body. That'd be awful. Alright, one more. 64. Organs. Platinum. Nightshade. Okay. Well... Devours veins of ore. Creature that's hanging around its weakness, there must be a strong positive incentive to keep it there. Something like that. Are the bells non-metallic to make them less vulnerable? Yeah. Yeah, I think if we say that, like, you know, using the template of Rust Monster on top of this Aboleth, it doesn't necessarily have to be metal. Like we're saying, if in that way, like, the bells... Glass is kind of creating a strong theme, too. I'm going to write maybe, like, Glass Monster. Maybe it, oh, man. That almost makes me want to say that, like, all these weapons they're finding are made of glass. So, like, glass daggers. And then that way, like... Is that too mean? They get to this monster at the end and it can just evaporate their gear. Which I guess is what a rust monster does anyway. So maybe they find some regular weapons along the way and they have to, like, swap out their really good, like, +1 glass daggers and stuff. I don't know. I'll think on that. I'm gonna write glass gear throughout. And then point to the Aboleth Rust Monster. See you, Pete. Thanks for joining. Actually, we'll be wrapping up pretty soon here anyway. Alright, so we got to go back to our room and wrap up here. We've got our moon mosaic Placing the corpse speaks with dead. I'm going to say now that these tombs filled with it will be descendants, because I'm thinking this is like the proto whatever Aboleth Rust monster ends up being called. Descendants. And I'm going to write hybrids. This is turning out pretty cool. Hybrids of... I'm going to write BBEG for now because I can clean this up later when I decide what the name of a glass rust monster aboleth is. And I think there's probably some loot in those tombs. And that's enough for this room because that's already 4 bullet points. So I'm going to write loot. And... oh, that's cool. Sonic Scream shatters glass. I love that. Yeah, so I'm just going to write it here. That's really fun because then it can also have another effect, like a deafening sort of effect too, if they're not using glass weapons, but you still want this to be your badass BBEG at the end. Sonic Scream shatters the Crystal Tyrant. That's a cool name too. I love it. I'll write that. Maybe that's it's like Al-Zorath, the Crystal Tyrant or something, but I like that as the tag. That's really cool. Awesome. I think we'll leave it there. Actually, you know what? Well, while we're here, I can spare another 5 minutes to roll some sort of mundane loot that these sarcophagi might have. Unless you guys have... oh, is that a 1? I really just rolled a absolute 1. Acid Vial, Amulet, Adventure Novel, Alb, Alligator Skin, Antique, Alchemical Device, Adamantine, an Adamantine Arming Sword. That could be cool. An Ancient Adamantine Arming Sword. That's gonna be in one. And an amulet in another. So let's see, there's... I'm gonna say there are actually only 6 of these. Well, that's uneven if I do on sides. Maybe there's 4. Ancient Adamantine Arming Sword, which is basically like a short sword. There's gonna be an amulet. Oh, what is it? An amulet of psychic warning. Hey, how do you spell amulet? Never get a smartphone if you ever want to spell things again. Amulet of spells. 22. Concealing, condemning, corroding qualities. Eldritch concealing. The maybe the thing can't see you. Dream. That's cool. Cloak. And what's the magic school? Death, desert, destruction. Amulet of... I liked a few of those things, were fun. What did we say? Concealing, Eldritch concealing dreams. Maybe it's like a you can't be affected. Your dreams can't be affected by Eldritch entities. Or I saw a cloak where it cloaks you from mind control or something. also like to see what the mutation is. That's a fun one. Claws. You just grow claws. Chameleon eyes. Color skin. Oh, so you can roll a random skin color on page 37. Actually, rolling it on the potion isn't a bad idea either. Extra arms. Elemental form. Oh, those are fun. Amulet of elemental form. That seems super powerful, though. Elder Dream sounds like a good name. Yep, you're right. Let's move on. I'll figure that out in post. Amulet of Elder Dream. It's about me. That'd be terrible. A terrible. You have to dream about eldritch entities. Alright, and then back to equipment. I need 2 more things. And I don't mind some of these being more mundane. Those are 2 pretty awesome items, like an ancient adamantine arming sword and an amulet. So we can go 98 is a water skin, whetstone, or whistle. Let's just say all 3. Alright, let's just see what else the 98 would have given us. A weapon, which we have a weapon. A warrant, wine. Oh, wine's fun. This is the W sarcophagus. A war chronicle. That's cool. Alright, I'm getting carried away here. Maybe the one holding the war chronicle can tell of the Crystal Tyrant's reign on an ancient kingdom. Alright, I'm going to roll again because I'm getting all the W's. 54. Hopeland jacket, horn skull helm. Ooh, that's cool. The cat just scared me. It's like, who's approaching me? And map. Maybe it's the map of the dungeon, and that will give them some info to go off of. Whistle. We already have bells and other sonic effects. That's true. Idea. Make the seemingly mundane whistle a thing that puts the Crystal Tyrant to sleep. Or even just like, you know, disrupts its mind enough to give you advantage on attacking it or something like that. I like that. Sure. There's a strong sound theme going through this dungeon so far, so I'll write a note. Whistle pacifies, or just re-roll the reaction roll. Yeah, maybe it could make the BBEG more. I'll figure that out, though. I like that the whistle seems innocuous, but actually does something. Whistle harms or calms, or both, depending on how you use it. BBEG. Cool. Alright, I think that's good. We got through 2 rooms this stream, and kind of like started to mold the BBG of this dungeon into a shape. Deafens the BBEG. Yeah, I mean, it could be a similar effect to whatever these chimes are doing. If the chimes end up being the thing that the chimes of the chapel, and maybe we'll even throw in some moon motifs and like some sound, like maybe there's like a scale written on the altar and there's like a song. I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas right now, but that's gonna be it for today. I think this really is starting to shape into a thematic dungeon pretty naturally, which is fun. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to run this now. Even just having this like sort of northeast corridor here. This already feels really fun, and this could be a situation where, like, I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud here, but like, if this ends up being like a dragon or something down here, maybe these two entities are sort of at odds, and this one is like holding the crystal tyrant at bay, and that's why. But then he got trapped from a cave in or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. I like to roll, kind of feel things out, get inspired, and then build on those ideas. So, but this has been really fun. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for your input. I love the collaborative nature of this, because it makes ideas emerge that I definitely would not have completely like thought up on my own, even with the use of tables. There's a fun, collaborative play to helping you guys, or using chat as like a way to like, basically compound ideas. Because if it's just me, I'm gonna write that same Lich Tomb dungeon every time, and it's gonna get really old by like the third campaign that you play with me. So appreciate you guys. I'm gonna keep this up as a series. If you're just tuning in, we did this one. You can go back and look. I'll make a playlist of these, and I'll put them all together. So if this is something you guys like, then keep tuning in. I'll keep doing it. I would be prepping these on my own anyway, so it's fun to kind of like do it as a collaborative experiment. Temple of the Singing Moon, or Moon Song. Ooh. Crystal Moonsong Cove. I don't know. We'll think on it. But thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll probably do one of these Monday, so keep an eye out just in case, because I gotta hammer out the rest of this dungeon pretty soon, because I have a game on the calendar and brand new players to the hobby, so I gotta cover some ground is what I'm getting at. So cool. Leave a comment after this airs, share it if you want, and smash that like and subscribe button. All right, I'm done. Appreciate you guys a lot. Thanks for helping me out, and we'll see you next time. No matter what choices you make. Nope, wrong. That's my podcast. Peace.